Welcome, fellow decoder around the world, wherever you may be, both male and female. My name is Logan, and this is Decode Your Reality. Welcome out to another decoding short. I'm getting a lot of requests for these to burn through this material to show you the decoding part of our world, perhaps just how our reality works. This will be decoding short on the title called Blood Moon. This will be Blood Moon Decoded, ladies and gentlemen. And let's hop right into this, shall we? And get into this material. So the question I'm going to start off with, and I'm going to end this presentation with the same exact question: does the moon have a hand in running our minds? Does the moon have our hand in running our minds? And I'm going to let you know, all of you, that I have this presentation coming out very soon. It will be my most in-depth, most thorough material I've ever put out on the world stage. And these are all precursors, warm-ups to it. So, does the moon have a hand in running our minds? I just chose Blood Moon just because it popped into my head. Okay, it doesn't have to be Blood Moon, but Blood Moon was the title of the topic. But let's get into the moon itself, okay? Let's break down the moon. Let's see if it has a hand in running our minds and our reality. So let's start off with some alchemy and bring it into mathematics and get some Greek mythology here. So starting off in the top right-hand corner of your screen, you're going to see the element called selenium. Comes from the Greek word selene, which is the moon, which is why at the very top in the silver, the little square silver there, the moon, that's the icon the Royal Society of Chemistry uses to represent this element. Comes from the Greek word selene. And I've been doing this a lot. Hopefully a lot of you decoders are catching on. But when you take the protons of the element and you add it to the atomic mass, 34 and 79 right there, you're going to get the number 113. And then we're going to go right into alchemy with that. And we're going to get into this element right here called nihonium. These elements, they bridge the gap to tell us how this reality works. Nihonium comes from Japan because it's the Japanese word for, or the word for Japan, Nihon, which is why you have the flag here. And how interesting, what is the logo on the center of that flag? I showed it my blood sun. Well, they're going to tell you it's the sun. I say it's a blood cell. I say it's a blood cell. And that's really, really interesting because if you keep going with this right here, ladies and gentlemen, just like that, you have a connection to our blood. You will be one of these blood types. O, A, B, A, B. You will be one of these blood types, either positive or negative. These are the 8 known blood types. 8, of course, tied to the sun, but it has to be tied to the moon because they go as a unit. The interesting subtleties, 74 letters. On spelling this all out, 74 tied to the big W and Wolfram, but it's 286 for its total, which is the weight, the atomic mass of nihonium. Nihonium has 113 protons, and it just goes all the way back to the starting point of the moon. So it's selenium tied to our blood types. Could the moon be running our minds? Let's keep going. Let's keep going with all this. So, bringing it into this, to kind of summarize it all up, we have this word role play being 30. And of course, as fate would have it, 113 tied to the blood types, tied to nihonium, the land of the rising sun. 113 is the 30th prime number. And there you have the connection to role play. Remember, if you watch my baby Decoded, the word placenta, which is the umbilical cord tied to the belly button, placenta is 30. Demiurge is 30. Jehovah, the new age name of the tetragrammaton, is 30. Santa Claus coming down the chimney is 30. Santa Claus was red and white. The flag on Japan, red and white. Blood is red. Are we being role played, and does the moon have a role in all of this? Let's keep going. So let's go back to this starting point here. Selenium, the big takeaway, right? Selenium. The moon would be incompatible without the sun. They go as a unit. And what's so interesting is selenium's atomic mass is 79, which, if you've been paying attention, 79 is the element gold. So you can clearly see that selenium being tied to the moon, which of course is tied to silver, and then gold being tied to selenium, you now have a connecting point here, and we have lead to gold here as well, if we really wanted to bring it home. But what is really gold measured in? This is where, again, we continue to go down the rabbit hole. Well, gold is measured in troy ounces. I don't know who picked the name. I didn't really kind of dig into this, but this is what 1 troy ounce of gold is measured in. 31.1035 grams. 31 grams is the takeaway. And how very interesting, because bam, just like that, we have the Greek spelling through the original language of selenium and selene. It's 31. Okay, so the moon and the sun, obviously they go as a unit. That to me is the Ark of the Covenant. These to me have a big say in running our minds, not just the moon, but the sun as well. So going back to this right here, so we have the connecting point of selenium and gold, the moon and the sun being measured in troy ounces, 31 grams, having that 31. And then we have another connecting point going right back to alchemy again. To show you our scripted reality, we have this element called gallium. Notice the atomic mass of gallium for its average, 69. What is the logo for the moon through the astrological placements? Cancer's 69. But the interesting part is we have the rooster here for the icon, and if you go read about it, it's going to give you the origins from France and the guy who discovered it, and all that stuff will have merit. And I've touched on this many times, this element right here, but it's going to all be about the rooster. And what is the rooster all about? What is the main basis of the rooster? Well, it crows when the sun gives off its first light. What is the sun tied to? What is the rays tied to? The sun. And so it's the sun and the moon, folks. You see how all this is tied together? And these are all just layers telling us that we live in a scripted reality and our lives are not what we think they are. Let's get more to the mind control here, shall we? How about this right here? Selenium, when you say it through the English, we get the number 32. And that's interesting because 131 in mathematics is the 32nd prime number. And just like that, as I've shown so many times now, the great band Pink Floyd, 1973, Dark Side of the Moon, the 9th song on the album called Brain Damage. There's Roger Waters writing these lyrics. There's someone in my head, but it's not me. So was the moon in his head to write the song? Like I've shown so many other times with so many other people. Well, how about this guy right here? Was this guy's mind his own? You know who this is, right? Orenthal Simpson, O.J. Simpson. All throughout high school, college, and professional, he wore the number 32. Was he groomed from birth to be under mind control? Was he a selected one? Are some of us escaping the mind control aspect of these celestials? You know, when you go and watch his interview and he finally reveals the truths at the end, he says, you know, I blacked out. I don't know what I was thinking. I blacked out. Black sun, I blacked out. So was this guy's mind his own during whatever happened? And again, obviously he was found innocent, but I mean, you got to be the judge of that. I broke down this whole case astrologically. Of course, him committing the crimes, if that was indeed the case, around 10 p.m. was at nighttime. That's where the lunatics come out. Lunatic is 23, moon is 23 in numerology. But how about this right here, ladies and gentlemen? Is this a coincidence? O.J. Simpson being born on July 9th, you can write that 79, and that's the atomic mass of selenium. There's someone in my head, but it's not me. How about that? And then we have this guy right here who wrote the song Dark Side of the Moon off of the amazing 1973 album Dark Side of the Moon. It's Roger Waters. Notice his birthday. He was born on the 6th of September. This is how they write it out. That's 69. And what's the logo for the moon? 69. Even the yin yang is in the moon here. The yin yang is inside the moon, the display of it. The song was the 9th song on the album, and 23 is the 9th prime number, and that's tied right to the word moon in numerology. How about that? I mean, is that a coincidence, an accident? Do you think that Roger Waters is trying to screw you and mock you over? Or screw you over and mock you, I should say? Or is he groomed to do all this kind of stuff? Is he being used by mankind, by man, to do this? Or is it just the celestials having their way with this reality? I mean, eventually, ladies and gentlemen, you come to the point where everybody would have to be in on the conspiracy to pull one over on you, and I just don't see that. And besides that, I've shown so many times how I've been being used. So let's get to the last slide here now on this blood moon decoded and get into Roger Waters and his birth card. Roger Waters, once again, being born on the 6th of September. Just want to be really transparent. The 6th of September, here's September. We come down and we have the 6th, which is the 5 of diamonds. And the 5 of diamonds, if we go to the cards of Illumination, just so we can be really transparent, it is going to be card number 31 in the lineages of these cards. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, you can clearly see the connecting point for Roger Waters, him writing the song Brain Damage off of the 1973 album Dark Side of the Moon. Here's his birth card. It's the 31st card in the deck. We go right back to the original spelling from where this word came from, Selene in the Greek, equaling the number 31. 31. So ladies and gentlemen, the question again I will ask you for this blood moon decoded, for decoding shorts, does the moon have a hand in running our minds? That will be left up to you. Once again, I will be covering a large portion of this material further, going as deep as possible on this upcoming presentation on Prison Planet Decoded. And, you know, ladies and gentlemen, it will be my most thorough, most in-depth material I have ever come out with. So you're not going to want to miss this one right here. Keep your comments coming. Would love to hear from you, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I got for today. My name is Logan for Decoded Reality. Until next time, we will see you later.